Today's video is part of the fourth stage of your reinforcement program for selling value. The subject is demonstrating value. Demonstration is where we show how we meet the needs we identified back in discovery. Really important that discovery is completed properly for the demonstration to go ahead effectively, and we'll talk about that more in just a moment. Once you have completed discovery, you're in a position to identify what the solution is to the customer's needs and challenges. So I often recommend that you have a break between when you do the discovery and when you start demonstrating. It gives you an opportunity to think through your solution for the customer, but more importantly, what the value proposition for your solution to the customer is going to be. Now, value proposition, you need to keep in mind some things that are very customer focused. For example, what's the key business driver that the customer has in everything you've discussed that you're going to help them drive towards? Now, drivers can include anything from revenue to costs to customer satisfaction. It might be staff related issues or whatever. They're the key drivers that are going to drive them to make a decision. To formulate the value proposition statement, you need to identify that driver and then identify how that driver is going to change, increase, decrease, modify in some way or another, right? So if it was revenue you're going to focus on, your revenue is going to increase, and then the important thing is to say by how much, in some form or another. So that's what the value proposition states, that by addressing the challenge or issue or opportunity the customer's got, the business driver revenue will increase by 10%. That value proposition, once you get it very clear, will drive all of your discussions with the customer and will ensure you have the right focus for those discussions. So, your formulated solution, you've got your value proposition well placed. Are you ready to do a demonstration? Let me just reflect back for a second on some things we've discussed previously. Right back in the training program, we talked about the typical buyer journey. So let's reflect on that for a moment, because it's really important when you do the discovery and before you go into a demonstration, you understand where you are in not just your sales process, but in the buyer's process as well, the buyer journey. So here we see the buyer's journey, and it starts with business as usual. The customer's happy with the current status quo, but something upsets that status quo, right? A challenge comes along. Now, what are some of those challenges? You will have identified it in your discovery process, but the challenges could be something like our competitors are beating us in a lot of the deals at the moment. Our margins or profitability is starting to drop. We're not getting delivering to customer contracts in a timely manner anymore. It'll be some challenge, a trigger has occurred to get them to start thinking. Now, ideally, as a salesperson, you need to be there helping them identify those triggers, or seeing the triggers happen and going in and talking to them, knowing they're likely to have these thoughts happening. Too often, we're called in somewhere down the track here when they're looking at engaging us, but they've already decided what they need by that stage. Is too late for us to add value to the discussion and become a trusted advisor. So, really important you think about where they are in the process and make sure, wherever possible, you're entering early enough, but don't enter too late. How do you identify you're in too late? Well, a classic is the customer's presented you with a tender, a request for tender. Said, we need this particular product or service. Could you please put a proposal on the table? Please quote to that tender. 9 times out of 10, you're far too late to go in and have a discussion, and you're probably better off not even responding to the tender. Very politely responding, thank you very much, but we're not unable to respond at this particular time, because you're wasting your time. They will have had a competitor help them put that tender together, or they've gone way beyond any and being in a position to have you add any value to the process, and all they're looking for is a price, and you end up in a price war, typically with a competitor who has already got the upper hand. Don't waste your time. Same with a commercial customer who comes to you and says, this is specifically what we want, please put a quote on the table. You're probably in the same situation. How can then you test that situation? Well, ask them, about their business. What are their drivers? Because a tender is going to tell you what they need, but not why they need it. And you can't add any value unless you go back and find out why. So try and initiate a discovery process. If they won't let you do that at this stage, they're too far down the track, then walk away. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of selling. Remember, we covered this also in the early part of the training program, and we talked about the difference between product selling and solution selling and partnering selling and what some people call insight selling. First of all, product selling is the old traditional feature function benefit, and typically we do that sort of selling without understanding too much about the customer drivers, about the customer needs and challenges and opportunities, and that's why we're now saying we need a discovery process. So the type of sales dialogue tends to be very much around the product and the transaction. And you can see these happening with a lot of situations. A customer will come in and say, I need a new X, I want to talk to you about having the capacity of Y and so on. And you get in to talk about product capabilities before ever talking about the business needs. Okay, you're in a product sale and you're not creating much value for the customer, and certainly very little value for yourself. And typically that then gets you into cost price type discussion, and it's not where you want to be. You want to be talking value. So solution selling is, first of all, exploring the needs and problems, doing the discovery we talked about. And the reason I'm going through this, I'm trying to emphasize the real importance of going through a proper discovery. You're very focused then on the customer solution to these issues or needs or problems you identify. And you're talking about how you can help them drive incremental value to their business. A total difference in concept and idea to the old product sale model. If you're really good and you have the opportunity, you can go all the way to a partner selling model, where you're now discovering opportunities the customer may have. You're looking at the business challenges they've got and how they can drive change to the business, some significant change to the business that will increase their business or make them much more responsive to customers, or whatever it is that they are identifying as the opportunity in their organisation, in their business. And the discussion then is very much around leapfrog type value, really helping them drive significant value in their business. So, what's the common mistake? What's this tell us about what we often do in a demonstration, the mistake we make when we go to do a demonstration? Generally it means, in a lot of organisations, a lot of people, a lot of salespeople, jump in far too quick to the demonstration. They haven't done their research. They haven't done the discovery they need to do to really understand the needs and challenges and opportunities the customer have, and then get their thinking around how you can deliver value to the customer. Their behaviour is more around, I want to sell a product, and the customer sees that, and you're no longer a valued advisor to the customer, you're a salesperson, and when they want to know about features and functions of product, they'll talk to you, otherwise stay away, right? Really important that we don't go in too quick to a demonstration. I also wanted to just reflect a little bit about what we mean by demonstration. We don't necessarily mean looking at feature and functions of the product. We're talking about having a discussion with the customer where you might be presenting information, you might be presenting different content about your product. You can do a demonstration without a physical product sitting there. You can do whiteboard demonstrations. You can do all sorts of presentations where you're presenting something and you're working with your customer. And that's an important point. You're working in a demonstration, you're demonstrating with your customer, you're not demonstrating to your customer. And you remember the circle for demonstration is 50% you talking, 50% the customer talking. Too often I see 90% the salesperson's talking because they want to show feature, function, benefit through all the product. And that's not what the customer wants. The customer wants to have a dialogue about their priority needs and how you're going to help them address those needs and drive value. So, how do we avoid starting too early in a demonstration? Well, a simple thing is to have a qualification process that you go through. Ask yourself a number of questions. Number one, has the customer admitted a need, a driving need, right? Number two, have they confirmed they want a solution to that need or challenge? Okay? Make sure you've got that confirmation. They really do want a solution. And make sure they're keen to hear what solution you might have. Right? So they might be keen to get a solution but not interested in what's going to come from you for whatever reason. You need to make sure they're keen for that. And you need to ensure there is a real sense of urgency to achieve a solution to their challenge. If they haven't got a sense of urgency, you might put a solution on the table, go through a whole lot of effort and proposals and so on, and find that the decision drifts forever. You need to make sure that sense of urgency is in place. And finally, make sure they've got the authority to make a decision and have access to some sort of budget that's going to help them acquire whatever solution you're going to put on the table. Okay? Once you have those 5 things, you're ready to do a demonstration, but not until. So always test to see whether you've got answers to those 5 questions. Okay, last thing before I get on to the 4 principles of demonstration is to just think about your professional responsibility. When you formulate, you've done your discovery and then you formulate your solution to the customer's needs, challenges and opportunities, ask yourself the question, does my solution best meet the customer's needs? Is it positioned as the best possible solution? If the answer is yes, you have a professional responsibility to go ahead and share with the customer how your solution, how the solution that they will implement with your help will deliver the value that they're looking for, will address the needs and challenges that we've identified together in the discovery process. If your solution is not the best way of addressing that solution, you have a professional responsibility to be open and honest and say, I don't think I've got a solution that best meets your needs. In both cases, it's a win-win for you and the customer. Yes, you might not proceed to a demonstration, you might not proceed to getting an order if the answer is no, but you've been honest and transparent and a great advisor to the customer. You've helped the customer think through their issues and opportunities, and hey, you're going to be the first person they call next time they have a need or an opportunity. Okay? With this in mind, let's look at the 4 core principles for demonstrating value. Right? Number 1, restate the needs. Make sure the needs, priority needs you've identified in the discovery process are properly restated. We'll talk about why in a moment. Secondly, then present your solution. Go through and outline what your solution is all about, how you're going to solve those needs. Third, emphasize the value, the benefits and value of your solution in addressing the needs. And finally, close the loop, get it reinforced and ensure the customer understands and agrees with the solution you put on the table and the value you're going to present. So let's refresh our memory in each one of these 4 very quickly. First, restatement of needs. The most compelling needs. Remember back in discovery, you worked with the customer to prioritize their needs and really identify the top 2, 3 and 4 needs they've got, or challenges or opportunities, the ones they really needed to address, right? You've got those problems. Restate them now, because it might have been some time since you did that discovery. Remind the customer, refresh their minds, and set it up ready for the demonstration, because you're going to show them how they're going to address those needs, how they're going to address the challenges, solve the challenges that they've got, okay? And of course you restate them to gain agreement, because the last thing you want to do is go into a demonstration now and they have either changed their mind or you haven't got agreement on what those needs are. Your demonstration is going to fall flat. So get agreement to what they are at the beginning of your demonstration. And then present your solution. Solution is all about show and tell, right? Show them, based on the need they've got, show them how you can address that need, how you fill that need or solve a problem, and tie it back to what you've learned in discovery. We talked about the gap analysis, the current business state, the desired state, the wants and needs in that design state. Here's where you can paint a picture and really drive it home. The third is emphasize value. This is where we translate the product features and their function into customer specific benefits and value. Okay? And while you do that, you need to appeal to both their logic and emotion. We all know we all make decisions based on emotion, and traditionally we human beings will get emotively drawn to a particular product or solution, and then we go back and try and logically justify supporting that emotion, supporting that emotive drive towards whatever we want to do. So you, during the demonstration, must be looking to appeal to both the emotion the customer has around the product, around the solution that they're looking for in their business, and the logic they need to support that. And fourth, close the loop. Ask for their reactions, feelings and opinion. Make sure you're getting their feedback all the time. By the way, this is not a time when you ask for decisions. This is not where you're closing the business. You're going through the demonstration to make sure the customer is very comfortable that all their needs, challenges and opportunities are going to be addressed in the solution. They're going to achieve the value that you've been discussing till now. You're reinforcing the relevance of your features to meeting their needs and challenges and ensuring they are convinced of that. So you need to continually close the loop. How? Again, it's questions. The best salespeople are the ones that know the sorts of best questions to ask at the right time through the sales process. So what sort of questions do we need to ask now? Well, simple questions about when you present something, well, what do you think of that? How do you feel about that? What appeals to you most about the solution we're discussing? How do you feel about the risks being mitigated in this way? What's your top of mind first impressions of the benefits that we've been discussing? Do they make sense to you? All those sorts of questions will give you good feedback from the customer and help close the loop and reinforce the value you're demonstrating at this point in time. And of course, don't forget about behavioural styles in demonstrations. Very simply, the drivers, they don't want details, so don't go into detail in your demonstration. Keep it simple and to the point and relevant to the end result they're looking for. The I's, the influential, they want the solution to help them look good. They want to help get that solution to influence others, so show them how that can happen. The S's, the steady, they like lots of detail to fill in the gaps and make sure they're comfortable. So spend plenty of time going through detail in the demonstration. Very valid to do so with the S's. The C's too like detail, but they'll have their own detailed plans already, and you need to make sure you're relating to and slotting your demonstration into their detailed plans. Okay? So in summary, let's remember back to what we talked about in the training. These 4 steps. First of all, identify the key needs the customer has. Needs, opportunities or challenges. Right? When you pick up one of those needs in the demonstration, identify the features of your offering that addresses that need and show them. Third, identify the benefits of that feature relative to their need, and it needs to be specific benefits that make sense to that customer. And finally, the value. Make sure you equate that back to the business value. So it's a very simple process. What's the need? What's the feature that addresses that need? What's the customer specific benefit of that need? And what's the business value for the customer? Once you've got that down pat and you go through based on what you've discovered in the earlier phase of the sales process, you'll find the demonstration flows very well and very specifically to the customer, and the customer will say, this guy's done their homework. They know what we're looking for, and I can see the value that's going to flow from that. Good luck with your demonstrations.